Fortnite Mobile, that is iPhone and now iPad Pro, finally, after long weeks of demanding and asking for it, has finally supported Bluetooth controllers. Now, a long time ago when I bought Apple TV Minecraft Edition, I bought it alongside the SteelSeries Nimbus controller, and it appears that support for Minecraft on the Apple TV has ended, but that does not mean that the controller is useless, because I bought this a long time ago, and it's a fairly decent controller. They're not terribly expensive, but at the same time, they're not quite as powerful or as intuitive as other controllers that you would get with normal consoles like the Xbox or the PlayStation. It's missing things like the joysticks themselves do not click. They just allow you to move around and they don't press down, which means that the game developers who support the controllers have to get a little bit more creative with how they work. There's no vibration motor, which can be somewhat distracting as an Xbox player who's used to playing Fortnite on the Xbox, now switching to an iOS experience. But now having it support the controller is probably the most seamless transition I've ever had from an Xbox experience to an iPad, but it by no means is seamless. It's just the closest to being seamless, mostly because when you get shot or when you jump up and down, you don't really feel that vibration that you're used to feeling, so things feel a tad bit off. They have to reroute a lot of the controls because these joysticks do not click down, which simply means that instead of thanking the bus driver with down on the D-pad, you press up, and to crouch while you're in the game, you press down on the D-pad, and you press up to activate your emotes. Just little things like that. But for the most part, all of the advantages of controllers switch over to the iPad very well. And the fact that it's all being supported via Bluetooth is very nice, because it means you don't have to carry around cables or too much where you go with you. Because essentially, if you want to have a wireless mobile gaming experience, this is pretty much all you need. An iPad, a Nimbus controller, and this is entirely optional, but a pair of headphones. I've been using AirPods as I play Fortnite with the iPad and the Nimbus controller, and I must say, I know a lot of people out there say Bluetooth has latency issues and the lag between wireless headphones and gameplay is too bad, but I gotta be straight with you, they work pretty dang well. In fact, I'm able to get a good idea of my surroundings using AirPods, and the gunfire that you hear in the game matches up with very little latency between the iPad and the AirPods. And of course, if that tiny bit of latency, which I'm sure is there, but it's really hard to notice, if it bothers you enough, simply taking out your AirPods doesn't freeze the game anything. As soon as you take out your AirPods, the sound immediately will start coming out of the iPad Pro speakers, which I guess if you're home and everyone leaves and you want to take off the headphones, transitioning to the iPad Pro's awesome quad speakers works really well because they sound excellent. They even support stereo. So yeah, overall, this little accessory can make quite the difference for your mobile gaming experience. Now, I should mention in this video that once you pair your controller to your iOS device, it will immediately start joining you to other lobbies with console players. So if you think you're going in with a controller to a server full of touch controls, no, you don't get to mow down all the other players just because you bought a special accessory. In fact, when you're in the lobby, you can see that the app is working properly with the touchscreen and everything, and you're accustomed to touch controls. But as soon as the controller is connected and you start moving around the joysticks and start pressing buttons on the controller, the game immediately adjusts to the controller mode, and it will partner you with completely different servers because they want to make sure you don't have that unfair advantage against other touch control players. So, if you want to play Fortnite with touch controls, you'll be partnered with people in touch controls. If you want to be partnered with people using a controller, you will be partnered with people using a controller. This is not an excuse to kill everyone who's on touchscreens. I will say though, as a person who is primarily a controller user myself, and a lot of you have likely seen some of my Talos of Gaming streams, you know I'm not like exceedingly good at Fortnite. I enjoy playing it and I'm not like an expert at it, but I was able to get quite a few kills just for the B-roll shots that I recorded for the filming of this video, and I did not sit on the chair for like hours and hours trying to get the mechanics down. I am accustomed to playing with a controller on Xbox, and now that I have a controller that is fairly similar to the Xbox controller on the iPad, all of the response times, all of the performance, all of the mechanics I'm used to easily transitioned over to the iPad. AirPods charge via Lightning, as does the Nimbus controller, so yeah, I guess if you have the 2018 iPad Pro, you'll need a Lightning cable and a USB-C cable in your go bag if you want to play Fortnite on the go, but keep in mind, the Nimbus Bluetooth also works with any iPhone, so if you want to play Fortnite on your XS Max, your XR, or whatever mobile phone you use, this will work with that as well. It's just going to be a much tinier screen. But I, for one, am incredibly impressed that that in 2019 we're able to get this amount of gameplay out of a mobile product. The iPad Pro is so incredibly thin and light, and you can barely notice it when you throw it in your bag, but it's able to crank out one of the most popular games right now at 60 frames a second, and a lot of people may not know this, on Fortnite Mobile now, they do let you turn the settings up to epic. However, it's capped at 30 frames a second, so I wouldn't recommend it because for the most part, when it comes to gameplay, frame rate is more important than resolution. So I keep settings on high along with 60 frames a second enabled. And yeah, wireless headphones, wireless controller, all being run by this one very, very light but incredibly portable machine. It's an insanely cool experience that you just kind of have this mobile TV that you go around with, and you're able to get frame rates and performance that would far exceed that of something like a Nintendo Switch. I get it, it's a much cheaper device, but hopefully this can send a message out there to AAA game developers. You can optimize high-performing games for mobile, and I really hope that with more people switching to mobile and being able to play Fortnite at an enjoyable rate on iOS now with the new iPhones and the new iPad Pros, we could actually get some more pro-oriented controllers, because this one is fine, but I'm coming from an Xbox One Elite controller, which definitely has a much more premium feel. The joysticks click inwards, which is much better than using the D-pad to crouch on things like you do on this controller. Having a vibration motor is also a big difference. You know when you're getting shot, and it's very, very visible, and I just find the Elite controller to be far more immersive. Granted, it's way more expensive, but if they were able to make some type of Elite controller, or Xbox could bring Bluetooth support to their Xbox controllers and allow you to pair them with iPhones and iPads, I think that would be really, really cool. And I just want to see some type of iOS-made but pro-oriented controller that could charge via USB-C, has the W1 or the W3 chip, has motors on the inside that vibrate and the sticks click in. It can be more expensive. I'd be fine with that, because at this point, you're able to play some of the most popular games on your iPad with controller support and get really decent frame rate and graphics. Now, originally when the iPad Pro came out, Apple said that you could get Xbox One S levels of performance out of it, and when I saw that, I was kind of like, yeah, what does that really mean though? Will it really have Xbox One S level performance? Now using it with the Nimbus, and coming from an Xbox One X user, I think we're there. I'm pretty sure the iPad Pro basically might be a little bit worse depending on how things render in the background, but that could be because of scalability, them trying to optimize their game for both iPhones and iPads. But for the most part, the iPad is inches behind Xbox One S level graphics. And again, this is all on something that can slip into a backpack and is thinner than a pencil. It's insane the type of gaming experience you can get now with the Bluetooth controller and the iPad Pro. So I highly recommend you try it yourself. Fortnite, of course, is free, and on iOS, luckily, there's no monthly subscription of any kind. There's no Xbox Live or any kind of membership you have to worry about. You can just download the game and start playing. So let me know what you guys think of Fortnite on iOS now supporting Bluetooth controllers. Do you like it? Have you tried it yourself? And are you thinking about getting a SteelSeries Nimbus controller, which ironically is not made of steel? This feels very plastic and cheap. But overall, if you enjoy playing Fortnite and you want to play it on the go, I highly recommend you give this a shot. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have an excellent day. Take care.